Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern time, and we are, of course, here with you around the country and the world. You could find us anywhere. We thank all the countries that have tuned in. I don't want to forget anybody, but I do want to thank the ones, the United Kingdom, Germany, Spain, Italy, as well as Russia, China, the Middle East, Mexico, Canada, amongst others. So thank you for listening all over the country and the world. Australia, don't want to forget Australia. So much appreciation on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. You know it's Wednesday, which means it is Dolphin time. In our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Moyne College Dolphins, I have the opportunity to bring you stories from student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni, and what we call the Dolphin Dive in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. Today inside of Mon Paz Popcorn.com's What's Poppin', we have a twofer, as I'll be joined in just a moment by Jack Gibson of the men's cross-country team for the Dolphins, and then following will be Anita Jepchirchir that'll be joining us from the women's cross-country team. Both of them, both Jack and Anita, finished in the top 4 men's and women's respectively in the NEC meet most recently here that happened this season in year 2 in the transition to Division 1. And then after that, in hour number 1, you'll hear from Rhett Lashlee, the head football coach of the SMU Mustangs, who has the team out to an 8-1 start and a 5-0 start in their first season in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And so you'll be hearing from him in an extended conversation that you won't find anywhere else. And then we'll do our second video, which will bring us to our Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, for NFL Week 10 of the 2024-25 season. Of course, we thank you for tuning in and being with us on all of our channels. You can, of course, find this and so much more on playback on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. So without further ado, I am picture-in-picture with Jack Gibson here, top finisher for Moyne men's cross-country in the 2024 NEC meet. Jack, how we doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And you and I were talking about it. You decided to shift from dark brown to blonde. How you feel about it? You like rocking it this way? Are you going to keep it going here beyond the meet that you had recently, or what's going to happen with the hair now?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it. It's just sort of like I don't know, a personality thing now. So look good, feel good. That's the type of thing it is, I guess.
Yeah, I can understand and I can respect that. So you said look good, feel good. How good does it feel to help this team have a even better finish when it comes to the NEC meet year 2 in the transition to Division 1?
It's really cool. I think just being the second year that we're in Division 1 and in this conference, I think it's really big for us to make small steps like this. So coming back from, I think, like 7th or 9th place finish last year and then jumping up to 4th is really huge for us. We also don't have that many guys on the team. So, in comparison to a lot of other teams, I think we're doing really well.
Well, and like you said, you don't have as many guys on the team. So how have you, I mean, when you see the success that you had jumping up to 4th in the NEC meet this year, what does it mean to you even more so that you don't have maybe as big of a roster as the teams you were going up against?
I think for us personally, I think it's more about like individual team goals. Like it's hard to compare ourselves to the top teams in the NEC right now because they are much larger than us. We're just getting into this. So coming from where we were and still moving up, being able to, beat other teams that are much larger than us, that have been here for a while. They know what's going on. They know the competition. I think it's really important to focus on like our own progress and how we compete, against those other teams.
And you talked about, focusing on, having that individual success, right? You worked well individually, and then the team will grow and the team will flourish. You being the top finisher for the team in this NEC meet, just bring me into that, your preparation, everything that you did on your end because you aided this team. We talk about the team rising to fourth in their finish, but you were a big part of that. So what went into preparing for this? What went into, just kind of your evolution personally to help the team get to where they were this year?
Yeah, well, I think you know, mm, maybe everybody on the team is just as important as me. Like, we score the same amount of points no matter what place you get. Sorry, that was a little bit misleading, but like every point is just as equally as important as the points I score. So one thing that I like to do is just make sure like everybody else is ready to go, warmed up. We're all good. We're all on the same page. We have a plan. We know what's going on. So it's comforting for me to know that all my teammates are ready to run because it sort of fuels me more, motivates me to do better. So it's very much individual, but it's also, a team coming together collectively, obviously. So, that helps me run faster, run better, and run for more than just myself.
You made the decision to come to Moyne, and obviously this is a unique scenario with Moyne transitioning to Division One from Division Two. Hindsight 2020, your thoughts on your decision to be a Dolphin?
Um, uh, I mean, I love it. Like, definitely surprising jumping up to G1. That was, I didn't plan that. I didn't know that would happen. So, uh, I like it. I like change. I like adjusting to things, and I think adaptation is really important. So, um, I'm grateful for it. I mean, better competition, more opportunity. I don't regret it. Yeah.
Coach Wheelis, Robin Wheelis, your head coach. What can you say about his style of leadership and maybe how it speaks to you personally?
It's very niche. It's very personal. He likes to know everything that's going on. We have a very like close-knit relationship. So anything anything that he wants done, we get done. It's very it's very niche. It's hard to say. Like it's different.
What is it about this team, the student athletes that you're with on the team, coach, when you kind of put it all together, the culture of the team? You said there's something very niche to Robin Wheelis, but what is it about this team that you feel like you feel a part of? You feel connected to? If it's
Um,
niche, but as maybe pointed or direct as this thing is, you feel like it fits you. Why does it fit you?
yeah. So since it's a smaller team, I feel like I was saying, we have like a very close-knit relationship. So I think we have more of like a family bond. I think with larger teams, you don't see something like that. So we all obviously like to run and we're here for running, but I think after getting to know each other, like just as a freshman, you already feel acclimated to like such a nice culture that you just know you feel very included. Um, and I think a lot of teams lack that, maybe even in our conference, because they're larger and it's just harder to get that.
Well, before I let you go, and I can appreciate that, there's something about Moyne caring about the person and not just the number. Jack Gibson here with us, a top finisher for the Moyne men's cross country team in the 2024 NEC meet, their second season in transition to Division One from Division Two in the NCAA. In this Dolphin Dive, before Anita joins into the show, I want to play a little bit of rapid fire. So you and I can ask each other anything in the world. It doesn't have to do with sports. It can do with sports, but we have to answer it. And Jack, you get to ask the first question.
Who? I don't know. Uh, who's been your favorite interviewee?
My favorite interview ever?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've had over 5,000 people on the show.
What jumps out to you?
Oh, boy. Probably Floyd Little. I mean, I know I say it a lot, but Floyd, good friend of mine, passed away a few years within these last few years. And he just has meant so much to Syracuse. Just a ball of love, energy, positivity. He helped me make a big decision in my life. He was an integral part of me believing in myself So he wasn't just an interview to me. He's not just an interview to me. And now that he's an angel up there, I feel very blessed to know him, and I think about him often. And I actually, when I go to Syracuse, because he obviously played running back there, whenever I go to a Syracuse football game, I try to walk up the same staircase, and I kiss my hand, and I touch his poster, I touch his picture. I touch it once when I go in and once when I go out, and I always say a little message to him. So I'm going to say Floyd. My question back to you, Jack. Who's been the greatest influence on your life and why?
Oh, wow. Man, I gotta choose one. Um, I think, I mean, I don't want to say this answer because it's sort of jumping around the question, but I think it sort of changes as I've grown as a runner and as I've gotten older. So one of the people that got me into running that has, I would say, is like the greatest influence is one of my uncles. He runs a lot. But in my first few years of college, I wasn't feeling so good. I wasn't performing as well as I thought. I was running maybe sometimes slower than I was in high school. So he would send me messages or send me little notes like in mail, analyzing like my races. He would say, wow, look at this progressions. Maybe some things that I didn't even realize were going well, he would point out. And it was nice just having like a fan sort of that I didn't even know was watching to help me uh, help boost my confidence a little bit. So yeah,
Well, what's your uncle's first name?
Jack.
Jack. Well, shout
Yeah.
out to Jack for being that positive voice with you and letting you know that you could keep going. And it sounds like maybe in some of those meets and some of those situations where there was adversity that maybe you heard some of his words in your head while you were running. So
Mhm.
it's a good thing. What's your final question for me?
Um, shoot. Hmm. What is, I don't know.
That's
Did you
fine.
play any sports when you were growing up?
I did. I actually had this conversation last night. I played little league baseball, and then I played basketball most of it growing up. I was recruited D3,
Hmm.
so basketball was my sport. But pick up football, played quarterback, had fun with that. Never wanted to get tackled by a 300-pound dude, so we played flag football or pickup football and whatnot. But yeah, basketball was the main one. But football and baseball messed around a little bit. My
Nice.
question back to you: best place to eat in Ilion in your hometown?
Oh my gosh. Okay. In Ilion, it's a really small town, so everybody would say there's this place called Sorrento's because it's kind of like the only place. I wouldn't say it's the best, but I mean that, you're only good or bad in comparison. But it's like it's good for our small town. But I live really close to Utica, so if we go there, there's more options.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. I know Utica's got a bunch of spots. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, Jack Gibson, top finisher for Lemoyne for the Dolphins in men's cross country in the 2024 NEC meet as they rise up the ranks here and have a better finish than their first year in transition from Division Two to Division One, constantly improving. And Jack improving as well, rocking new hair, going out there, look good, feel good, and we appreciate you being on the heights, Jack. Appreciate the work that you're doing. Appreciate your positivity and personality. So keep doing what you're doing, and shout out to you and the family. And I look forward to seeing what comes next.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care. That coming from Jack Gibson, and now we're going to have the opportunity to jump right over into a conversation with Anita Jepchirchir, who's going to be joining us here. Very excited to have Anita on the broadcast and appreciate her patience as we have them going back to back this morning. And Anita is going to join us from the women's cross country team with the Moyne Dolphins, and she was the top finisher for the women this year in their better performance in the NEC. So we have the two top finishers for men's and women's cross country, respectively, today, and excited to be able to share their stories, share some time with them in this edition of the Dolphin, a double dose of the Dolphin Dive, proudly presented inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Moyne College Dolphins. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring in Anita. We'll make sure we get her in here for the broadcast so that we can talk to Anita for a little bit. Do want to thank you for watching, like I said before, around the country and the world, however you're connected to Wake Up Call. We thank you for watching. We thank you for listening. We thank you for having some fun with us as always. So let's see if we can get Anita on here and get her all set up. So waiting for Anita picture in picture, and I can hear her. So I think we have Anita here. So let's see. So we can't see her yet. We're trying to get that all set up here. So we do. Anita, can you hear us? There we go.
Oh, hello. I can hear you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well. We're going to bring you in here picture in picture and have a conversation. We appreciate your patience as we were talking with Jack for a few minutes here. The two top finishers for Moyne in the wonderful sport of cross country in this most recent NEC meet. And so Anita Jepchirchir joins us here from the Moyne Dolphins women's cross country team and the top finisher for the team in the 2024 NEC meet. Anita, how are you? How are things?
Oh, things are going well. I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
Doing very well. And I want to congratulate you first and foremost on being the top finisher for the team in this NEC meet. I know the team had a better performance than last year, and I know that you were a big part of that as the top finisher. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So bring me into how you improved, what it was about your performance that obviously when you go into a meet, it's not about that one event. It's not about that one time. There's a ton of preparation that goes into it. There's days and weeks and months. So bring me into your preparation this season and why you believe you were the top finisher.
I feel like I prepared so much for this cross country season, especially during the summer. I made sure to put all my runs in. I know sometimes I think cross country is more of a mental battle and a physical one too. I had to tell myself I have to go out there, I have to go run. Even during our runs, sometimes I don't feel like it, but I keep telling myself, okay, so this is it. You gotta start, And once you start, now I'm like, okay, I started. I gotta finish, And I think working well with my team too. I like cross country is a team sport, You support each other, you run with each other, you keep pushing each other. And my team support has been really good. The cheering, it really supported me. It made me feel supported, and I think that's what pushed me a lot. Yeah. That's what I can say.
Well, and you said it's a team sport, but it can feel very individualistic when you're out there, right? So you said, your teammates cheering you on means a lot to you. How does this individualistic sport become a team sport? How do you feel part of a team when you're out there running?
Well, the thing is, cross country, running is personal as it is a team. Like we said, you can run by yourself, but you can never push as far by yourself. When you have your teammates, they keep pushing you. I realized when I run by myself, I run way much slower than when I run with my teammates. And having when you're racing, having that team support, Anita, keep going, keep pushing, we're almost there. You're like, okay, I'm almost there. I gotta keep going just a little bit more. And they're hearing the motivational words from my coach, from my teammates. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can keep pushing. That's what I mean by It's more of a team. It's much more of a teamwork as it is as an individual, sport running.
Well, and I find that interesting and really positive and awesome that you said, when I'm running by myself, I don't run as fast as when my teammates are supporting me. And there's something to be said about, I mean, obviously the show is called Wake Up Call. Our tagline is where sports meets life. And you just spoke about where sports meets life in that statement of saying, I can do so much on my own, but when there's more people together, when people are working together, we can accomplish more. How does sports for you represent life in the theme of what I just said, that you can do so much by yourself, but you can do more together?
Well, the thing is, in life, when you get to like experience things from other people's perspective, it changes you. Like you could be doing something in a certain way and wondering, okay, why is it not going the way I want to? But like bringing in people from outside, getting a different perspective, getting support, it can push you forward.
And that support, where did it come from for you growing up? Who's been that support system? I know you grew up, you're from Kenya, so family far away, but growing up, who have been the people that you really felt like pushed you and supported you all the way through?
I have really supportive parents. My mom and my dad supported me all through my running career. Even when I was a kid, I used to just run everywhere. When they sent me to the shop, I would go running, And even when I told them I want to come study abroad, they supported me and they keep supporting me. They keep calling me, a couple of times we talk. They talk to me. They tell me it's all right. You're doing fine, they support me. My family supports me. I have here, since my family is not close, I have the support of my teammates. I have the support of my friends, and I like Lemoyne because it's a small school, so I like it's like home away from home. It doesn't feel like I'm miles away. It feels like okay, I'm somewhere else, but I don't feel like completely strange. Yeah.
So for you, here with Anita, Jepchirchir joining us from the women's cross country. And Anita, I want to make sure, am I saying that correctly? Because if I'm not, I want you to yell at me. So, how am I say? How you say it?
Jepchirchir, you're saying it correctly.
Okay, okay.
You're among one of the few who say it correctly.
Okay, I want to make sure I did. So, like you said, a lot of support growing up. But you said even though you're away from home, Lemoyne feels like home. Two things on my mind. How did you get connected with Lemoyne? How did you even know about Lemoyne, number one? And then number two, why does Lemoyne feel like home?
Um, At first, I first came to America. I went to a school in Ohio, but I had one of my friends who's also a distant cousin come to Lemoyne, so we got connected. And I didn't like it back there because it was a bigger school. I felt lonely, so she told me about Lemoyne. First, I liked the nursing program in Lemoyne, so she was like, "Oh, they have a dual degree. You would like the nursing program there." And then she told me about like the team and running because I always been a runner, and the school I was at, it wasn't it wasn't so active, so I wanted something, and then she told me about it, and I was like, okay, let me see. And so I reached out to admissions, and that's how I got it started. And then I reached out to coach to get started about my running career, my track, and how it will be like. So I asked him, would this be like a good fit for like someone who's gonna do nursing and do um, track and cross country at the same time? So he told me, yeah, we could work it out. This is what Lemoyne offers. This is what I do, and that's how I came to Lemoyne. And about feeling more of a family. So I transferred here, and the first thing I got when I transferred here is the transfer student community. So they took me in, they talked to me, they were like, okay, so this is what they were like, these are the resources we offer. So if you're a transfer, this is what happens. So they guided me through the process of, getting used to Lemoyne. And yeah, when I talked to my professors, they were so understanding. So it's like in class I wouldn't struggle too much, and then cross country my coach was understanding. Outside class I started talking to people, so I had friends, so it became close because I had people to fall back to, people to talk to, people to support me through my journey, so it felt like home away from home.
Yeah, and you said you spoke with Coach, you spoke with Robin Wheelis, and asked him, if I'm going to do nursing, is this a good program for this? Like, is this all going to work out? How would you describe Coach? What is it about Robin Wheelis that kind of sticks out to you? Jack said that he has a unique, kind of a unique way that he goes about things. I've talked to Coach for at least 3 years now. So how would you describe Coach Wheelis?
Well, I'd say he's straightforward. If you're not doing something right, he will definitely tell you you're not doing something right, but he is understanding at the same time. He'll talk to you, he'll tell you, okay, this is what you need to work on. Do you need help with anything? He'll sometimes just, tell me, okay, is everything going all right? How was school? How was everything? So he's understanding, he is supportive. I couldn't have done, like, I don't think, if I didn't have a supportive coach like him, I wouldn't have done both cross country and track and nursing at the same time. It's a really hard balance, and having his understanding, and he would, like, with my schedule and everything, would fix around everything, like practice. Sometimes I don't make it to team practice, but he'll be like, fix around stuff. And I think, yeah, he's so understanding, he is supportive, he is straightforward. Yeah, that's it.
Anita here with us this morning in this edition of the Dolphin Dive, inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Moyne College Dolphins. I want to go back to Kenya and growing up there. Where's home? Where's the hometown?
So my hometown is Eldoret. It's it's now a city, but it's a small city. It's 6 hours away from the capital. It's mostly like where a lot of runners come from. So I'm proud of it. So it's a nice, I would say island. No, what do we call it? Yeah, highlands, but not like a island. It's like it has a really high altitude, so where people train, people like going there to train a lot. I would say Kipchoge trains there, and Kipyegon trains there too. So I'm proud of that. It's a nice town. I like it.
Now, do you go back home like when everything's done, like for the holidays or summer or whatever? What's kind of the back home timeline for you? How often do you go back?
Oh well, I haven't gone back home yet since I came here for school, but I'm planning to go once I graduate. But during holidays, I have been going to visit my family. I have family in Rochester and Pennsylvania, so that's where I've been going for holidays.
So for you, Kenya is a beacon when it comes to the world of running,
Yeah.
and there has to be an insane amount of pride when it comes to the Olympics, when it is the world stage. What does that mean to you that you come from a country that is so well known for the sport that you play and so well regarded? And when because the United States in so many places, they're that like beacon, that's where people focus. But when you see a Kenyan in any type of event that has to do with the cross country, the track and field, the running world, there is an emphasis on the fact that you are going to get a really strong talent going up against you. What does that mean to you to be able to represent a country that is so good at this sport that you love?
Oh well, it's really good because looking at athletes from Kenya fills me with pride, but like I would say, it also comes with a certain pressure. Like not even from like people from within. I'm like, okay, so I people who come from Kenya do really good, so I gotta do good too. So it's part of both. It's pride and pressure from myself. I'm like, okay, now I gotta do good. I gotta perform well. Good people from Kenya perform well. Like this is our sport. I gotta represent. Yeah.
Well, Anita, before I let you go, we do a thing on the show called Rapid Fire, and it gives us an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, and it also gives you an opportunity to do what student athletes never get to do, which is ask the questions. So you get to ask two, I get to ask two. They could be about any topic in the world, and the whole point of Rapid Fire is to not prepare for it and to just ask the questions and answer the questions with how you feel in the moment. So you can ask me the first question.
Um, what's your favorite football team?
Are we talking football, soccer? Or are we talking football like American football?
American football.
American football. My favorite team is doing really, really bad right now, but the Jacksonville Jaguars. I am a Jaguars fan. There's Jaguars stuff off camera in my studio, but yeah, I mean, I wanted my own team. I wanted a team that nobody could bandwagon jump, so I became a fan when they came out in 1995. And my favorite running back is still Fred Taylor, who played for the team and is trying to become a Hall of Famer, and I believe he will. But yeah, so Jacksonville, Florida's a second home, so it's an easy pick for me. It makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways, and I've always stayed true to it. And they're teal and gold, and I love those colors. So yeah, I'm a Jaguar through and through, and I will continue to support Trevor Lawrence and this team. They're 2-7, but they very well could have been 7-2. They just need to fix some cultural problems and fix some mistakes, and hopefully I can see them win a little bit more. It's been frustrating, Anita. It's been very frustrating. Thank you so much for bringing up that very sore topic in my life right now. My question back to you. All right. Well, I love to learn about places through food. So bring me to Kenya. Tell me the best food that lives in the country of Kenya. I want to know, is there a place you go? Is it just your parents cooking at home? But I want to know the best Kenyan cuisine that you can tell me.
Um, what happened?
Oh, yeah, I think we
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're just frozen for a second. You can go ahead.
Oh, all right. Well, I will tell you the best Kenyan cuisine is chapati
Okay.
and beef stew. It's usually like every family during like any celebration, like any holiday, Christmas, uh, New Year's, any celebration, any special occasion, they always have chapati and beef stew. So chapati is like something like a tortilla, but like thicker, and then and then you can eat it with anything. You can eat it with beef. You can eat it with um, chicken. So you cook the beef. It's like stewed beef. You
Okay.
boil the beef. You put the ingredients inside, and then you fry it up, and that's it. That's the best cuisine you can get in Kenya.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. What's your last question for me?
Did you play any sports in college?
I got recruited to the college that I went to. I got recruited to Marywood University to play basketball, and I was going to there we go. So I was going to look at playing basketball for them in D3. I was coming off a coach my senior year in high school that left a very bad taste in my mouth. So I told the coach, Eric Grunman at Marywood, that I didn't know, and he's like, "Oh, just come run with us." They gave me a roommate that was on the team. He's like, "Oh, just come run, come see the team." And I was like, "I don't know, coach," and I was trying to kind of figure it out. And then I got a phone call to broadcast a game, and that took off, and I did that for 4 years. MU courtside, NCAA men's and women's basketball broadcasts live on radio and TV simultaneously, and they still do it to this day at the school. And I ended up becoming really close to Eric Grunman, who would have been my coach, but we ended up getting to know each other through me covering the team. But to this day, I still love basketball. I could still shut my brain off when I play. I'm still very competitive. I don't really let people know how competitive I am on the court, but I'm extremely competitive on the court. I demand a lot out of myself, and if you ever see me shooting, I will challenge myself to shoot as far away from the basket as possible. So I absolutely love it. I still love it. And I've been talking about it for the last couple days, which means I should probably go out to the court and shoot, because I think I'm about time to do a little shoot around before I go down to Florida and get to play down there for a little bit and have some fun just kind of on that court. So, yeah, I love the sport, and I always will. And I plan on being a dad that can, like, still play with my kids. So I absolutely love basketball. And when I say play on the court down in Florida, there's a place where my dad and I stay, and they have, like, a basketball court that's right there. And I just like to, the thought of getting up in the morning and while some people are getting coffee, I'm just like shooting. So I look forward to it. So that was your question to me. My second one for you. Who is your superhero? Could be an actual superhero from the movies. It could be someone in your life. Who's your superhero?
Oh, well, can I say both?
Yeah.
From the movies and in real life?
Yep.
Oh, well, so from the movies, I really like Wonder Woman. Yeah, I think she's a really cool superhero. And then in real life, my superhero is my mom. I think she has overcome a lot, especially just because, like, in Kenya, things are different. The culture is different. So I think she has overcome so much, and she has shown me how strong a person can be. And she has been able to support me, support my siblings, while experiencing a lot too. So she is my superhero.
And what's your mom's first name?
My mom's first name is Jane.
Jane. So,
Yeah.
Jane, if you're watching this live or on playback, thank you for everything that you've done to raise your kids. And thank you for everything you've done. Like you said, culturally, things are different in Kenya. So to Jane, you should know how much of a superhero you are, how strong you are. And I think that in a lot of cases, moms work, and my mom very much so, they do so much, and they don't really get the thanks for it. So let's shout out Jane, show her some love. And Jane, by the way, I expect there to be a care package of food from Kenya that I get to try. What is that thing that you said again, Anita? What's the best thing in Kenya?
Chapati.
Chapati. Okay, so yeah, some chapati. I want some homemade coming to us. But Jane, thank you for raising such a good one, and raising all your kids, and believing in life, and the positivity and the goodness and the strength. There is no greater gift, in my opinion, for a child than to have a good parent. So for Anita, Jepchirchir, the top finisher for Moyne Dolphins women's cross country in the 2024 NEC meet. Thank you, Anita, for the work that you're doing. Thank you for coming here and giving upstate New York a chance. I'm sorry for the snow, and and I appreciate you sharing your story about your mom and about you as well. And I look forward to talking with you soon.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You too.
Thank you. That coming from Anita one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. For those of you that are here waiting for Rhett Lashlee, he is coming up in just a moment. We're going to air that special with Rhett, and you're not going to find a special like this with Rhett Lashlee anywhere else. We've talked to him many times over the years. I have covered him the entire time. He has been the head coach of the SMU Mustangs, inside of the American, and now inside of the ACC. And so for me, they switched conferences, but it's still the same Rhett. And the team is 8-1 overall. They're 5-0 in the ACC, and they have an opportunity with 3 games to go to play in the ACC championship game in their first season in the conference after playing and winning the American Athletic Championship last season. So the SMU Mustangs hoping for continued growth and a lot of positivity. And speaking of growth and positivity, thanks to Jack and thanks to Anita. Fantastic stories. And isn't it good to wake up in the morning and hear about a parent's love? We'll take a step aside for a fast break. God bless you all. We'll be back right after this with Rhett. Sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638 1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I am honored and privileged to be picture-in-picture with a coach that is no stranger to Wake Up Call, and that is Rhett Lashlee, the head coach of your SMU Mustangs, and they are following an 8-1 start and a 5-0 start inside of the ACC in their first year in the ACC. I have covered SMU for, I would say at this point, probably around a decade, if not more, in the entire time that Rhett has been there. We've talked in the American, and we've also spoken now in the ACC. And Rhett, you are doing a tremendous job, but before anything, good morning, and how are you?
Hey, good morning, Dan. Always good to be with you, and always good to be playing meaningful games in November.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there was something that I was talking to Chris about, your sports information guy, and when him and I were talking about this off the air, I said, it amazes me that people thought that SMU was going to come into the ACC, be in the bottom, show that they don't belong, and I made a statement in the preseason. I said, SMU may be better than you think, and you're probably going to need to maybe look out for them a little bit and don't think that they're the little brother coming into the ACC. Were you surprised that people had this notion of like, okay, SMU is going to come into the ACC and we're going to show them what power conference football is? Were you surprised to hear things like that?
Like, I was surprised to hear anything. I mean, we had everything spanning from people thinking what you just said to, I mean, we had some people that were crazy predicting us to win it. And I was like, I thought that was just as crazy. I mean, in fairness to everybody, history tells you that when you make this jump, it takes a minute. Very rarely do teams even have a winning season, and definitely they've never had a winning record in their conference. And so, and the few schools that did have a good first season, I think a little over a decade ago, Utah and TCU had a winning season. The following years they struggle, and it just takes some time. I mean, it's just to get your roster, the depth, the week in, week out competition. At the same time, we hadn't proven that we had beaten a lot of power conference opponents in the couple years previous either. So I get it. But we felt like we had a team that could compete, and I think the ACC's got a lot of parity this year. I think it's really wide open. I think the top 8 to 10 teams, there's not a big gap. And so we're just fortunate to be in that group, and we've been playing some pretty good football.
Yeah, and you look at, there's a game I want to, the only loss that you have on the schedule so far and I know you're hoping this is the only one you're going to have, but the BYU game that you played at home in Dallas, Texas, the game that was 18-15. I was watching this game from afar, and every time I saw your face, like I was telling you off the air, I know the man behind the music, so I'm looking at you and I'm like, he's got to be frustrated right now. Like that for both teams, it was like nobody could get into the end zone, and you would get so close, and you had 2 or 3 possessions down the stretch where it was like almost but not there. Bring me into that BYU game, because they're undefeated right now at the time we're talking. You only have 1 loss. Your loss was to the undefeated BYU, and yet this game was under 20, 18-15, and it seemed like at times pulling teeth for both teams to just get anything going offensively.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, Kalani's got a great squad, and I think everyone sees that now. And we could feel it in that game. I think it was 2 really good defenses. I think our defense played definitely a winning performance, and I don't think BYU scored under 30 points since that game. And it was frustrating from our standpoint because while yes, that's a really good football team, and they've proven that since then. We felt like we did a whole lot more to lose that game than we did to make ourselves hard to beat. We had, to your point, we had a fumble at the 5 late, and we could have taken the lead. We threw an interception inside the 10. I think we only punted once or twice, and we didn't get in the end zone the whole game. We moved the ball up and down the field, and we just didn't have a lot to show for it. It was also the game before we kind of made our decision at quarterback, so both of our quarterbacks were playing in the first half. It was hard to get in rhythm. But again, we played a winning performance on defense. We just kind of gave the game away offensively. And I think that's what was the most frustrating. But at the end of the day, that game helped us regroup as a unit, regroup as a team. We settled on our quarterback and offensive direction, and our team has really been playing with a lot of confidence ever since then.
You talk about in that game you were still trying to figure out who your quarterback was going to be within the season. That was game 3 of your season, and it was still between Kevin Jennings and Preston Stone. Was that something that you were okay with? I mean, you go through camp and you're trying to figure things out. You go through spring ball, you go through fall ball, and some coaches, a lot of coaches in recent history, don't want to tell you who that guy is going to be. I think North Carolina, they had 3 guys going into the season with Mac Brown saying I don't know where I'm going to go. Duke having a couple guys. And so was that a situation that you were okay with to go into the season? And then when you got to game 3, were you kind of like going to the offensive side of the ball and speaking to the coaches and going like, hey, like we're a quarter of the season in, like we got to figure out if it's Jennings or Stone. Bring me into kind of where you wanted to be and where things ended up.
That's a great question. And I mean, who knows what's right or wrong? That's why it's our job, I guess. I mean, going into the season, you always want to go into the season with that settled. And so, if we knew exactly the way it if it had played its way out already before the first game, then we would have done that. I mean, we had a unique situation in that we had a returning starter in Preston Stone who, was 11-3 as his career as a starter, had just led us the year before. He had done nothing to lose his job. He had played well down the stretch before he got hurt. He had given a lot to this place. And, we all know, you can ask Derek King, our staff, everybody, you don't lose your job because of an injury if you haven't done something to lose your job. And he came back and had a solid summer and had a good fall camp. Then you have Kevin Jennings, someone we could see the potential. We could see the future of what we thought it could be. And he stepped in and won the conference championship game for us in his first career start.
Yeah.
He had a good spring, summer, and fall, but neither one of them had won the job outright and obvious to our entire staff and to our team. And, and Preston had not done anything to lose his job. And our team voted them both captains. So, the only thing that we knew or that I knew to do as a coach is let it play itself out. Let them play. And, as soon as it would reveal itself, that's what we would do. Always had an idea of what would happen, but I think that's the only fair thing to do is let the guys play it out. And, in the first game of the year, Preston led a great comeback for us in the second half. But it was pretty clear at the end of the first quarter of that BYU game that it was not any one person's fault, but we were just moving the ball better with Kevin in the game. And, I think so once we decided on that, it revealed itself on who was the best fit for this team. We were able to build an identity around what Kevin and this unit can do, and our guys have really taken off.
Rhett Lashlee here, SMU Mustangs head football coach, following an 8-1 start, 5-0 in the ACC in their first season in the ACC. We go back to your last season in the American, which was last year, 2023-24. You were undefeated, went 8-0 in the conference in regular season play, won the conference championship over Tulane, who was ranked at the time 22nd in the country, and won that AAC championship 26-14. So we see the fact of, if we go back to last year and we add it to this year, 14-0 in conference play. Does that have any validity to you? Does it mean anything to you because it was a different conference in the American than it is in the ACC? At the same time, we're talking about teams last year that came in to the American that weren't well known, right? They were realigning and whatnot. So you're playing a bunch of new teams that you hadn't necessarily been used to seeing all the time before, especially with you as the head coach at SMU. So last year in the American, you had a bunch of new. This year in the ACC, you have a bunch of new. And you have put together, from last year to this year, 9 wins plus the 5, giving you 14 straight conference wins between being an American member and an ACC member. What does that mean to this program, and how would you kind of define it, knowing that you're in a unique situation of being undefeated in conference play in 2 different conferences?
Yeah, I mean, just hearing you talk through that, it means a lot. And yes, it definitely matters a great deal. And just listening, I think we won our last regular season game my first year against Memphis. So if you count that, it's 15 straight if you count the Tulane game. And so I think that's just staggering to hear that number of what our guys have done, to go that long. We're talking November of 22 since we've lost a conference game. That's, in the American and now in the ACC, which is 2 of the top 5 conferences in America. I think that's a great testament to our coaching staff and our players. I mean, we don't talk about that stuff around here, but the more you win, then it comes up. So the last couple of weeks, people have been talking about that streak. I think when it was 12 or whatnot, we broke the school record. So then someone told us, and then I think right after we beat Louisville, someone let me know that, us in Texas have the longest road winning streak in the country going on. Our guys don't talk about that, but when you hear it, it just, I think it shows we got a special group this year. The seniors, we have a veteran group. They've learned how to win. And I think they're 17-2 in their last 19 games I saw. Last year we won 11. They kind of came into this year and playing in a new league. And the first 2 conference games of the teams that played for it last year in Florida State and Louisville, 3 of our first 4 games are on the road in the conference. And then our 5th game's against the top 20 team. And they just go play. They don't really get caught up in all that. And so, yeah, I think it's a big deal. It's a big deal to be able to span that success over time. I think this senior class we have, this veteran group, deserves a ton of credit.
Yeah, and you're right. If you go back to Saturday, November 26th, 2022, the 34-31 win over Memphis does give you technically 15 in a row conference wins,
Wow.
which is insane, dating back to 2022, and here we are in 2024, almost 2 years into that streak. How do you put that all together? Because there's the transfer portal, there is, guys fighting for jobs. Like you said, you have that senior leadership, you have veterans that have been there, but culture is a big part of things, and the locker room is a big part of things. And I have been in collegiate locker rooms and I've been in professional locker rooms when it comes to the sport of football, and I can tell you in multiple sports actually, but I can tell you from my point of view that when I'm in a locker room of talented individuals, but there's viruses in there, that virus eventually creeps out and infects everybody. And then when you're in good culture locker rooms, there's something about the fact that even when they lose, they're on the verge of winning. They're on the way to winning. So culture-wise, to be 15-0 in conference play, to have that span almost 2 years now, to have it span 2 conferences, to have it span teams that are in states littered all over the country. bring me into the culture of SMU, because there is no mistake of consistent positivity, consistent winning, consistent moves forward. You can have occasional greatness in with really anything, but this team has a level of consistency nationally that deserves a spotlight, and that plays into culture. And I'd love to get your thoughts on the culture of the Mustangs.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking it that way. And it's true. I mean, culture is a buzzword, but it matters. And, to me, your culture is only as good as the collection of people you have. And then to your point, from a consistency standpoint, what's important to you? And, when we got here 3 years ago, I believe life's about people and relationships. And so that's why you get into coaching anyways. Like, you can coach them as hard as you're willing to love them is something that I truly believe in. And, we hired a staff of men and women that care about the young men that we're leading. And then we tried to bring guys into this team that fit. And the first year, we went, 7-5. Okay. And then we're going into the second year. I think that senior leadership that year, guys like Elijah Chapman and others, deserve a ton of credit for kind of setting the foundation for what we did. And we got on a winning streak. And then this year, when we had a lot of returners and brought in a lot of transfers, to your point, those transfers came in and they kind of conformed to what's going on here. And I think, look, nothing's perfect. You got NIL, you got transfer, everybody wants to play. Nothing's ever perfect, but we have a culture built on relationships. Our players know we care about them, and we're honest with them. So even sometimes if they're not happy or we're not telling them what they want to hear, they know we're honest with them. And so I think that has helped. And I think our players deserve credit for taking it and doing it. Like, you have to accomplish confidence. You have to accomplish winning consistently to make winning a habit. And I thought Kobe Wilson, our linebacker who transferred here a year ago from Temple, so now he's in his second year with us, he said it this way about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I hadn't thought of it this way, but he just said, man, I think we hate losing more than we like winning. And our guys are happy. They enjoy being together. Again, every day's not perfect. And I think what Kobe said was never more evident in that Duke game, where Duke deserved to win that game just as much as we did, maybe more. But our guys just kept playing and found a way to get the victory. So our guys enjoy playing together. They have fun. They're happy. The amount of guys that have either been here, like Isaiah Wacobia and Roderick Daniels, since they came out of high school, but all these transfers, they just say, man, Coach, we're so happy here. The culture's great. We're so glad we came here. And I think happy people win more.
Yeah, and I mean, you said something. You said you're all about relationships. And when you said it, I'm nodding because I know that personally from you. I get to talk to a lot of coaches. We've had a lot of people here on the show over the years. And, I pay very close attention to who you are. Not just, are you winning? Not just, oh, do they say, the right stuff, this and that when the cameras are on? But I look at who's physically really, truly building a relationship. And I want to let you know this because I'm thankful for it, and I hope you don't mind me sharing it. But you and I have built a bond off the air as well. And less than an hour and a half before your game time that you just had against Pittsburgh, I shot you a text message, and you answered me back. And I actually called up my parents, and I was like, it's guys like Rhett that make me feel like I'm doing something good in this world. It's guys like Rhett that make me feel appreciated. And those are people that you really can't help but root for and want to see the best for. Because here you are, I'm like, he's probably in the locker room right now, getting ready, doing things, and he took the time to say, thanks, Dan. So I wanted to put that out, and I hope you don't mind that I did put that personal back and forth message out, because it speaks to your character, it speaks to your personality, and it just means a lot to me. It shows me that no matter how successful you've become and how many things that are going well with the team this season, you still treat me the same way you treated me when I met you a few years ago.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, and none of us are perfect, but that's what we try to do. And I believe that. I think life's about people and relationships, and I think most of us if we don't take ourselves too seriously, we understand. We're only where we are at times by the grace of God and the good people around us, and appreciate you.
No, absolutely. So before we get into a couple things here, we're going to play rapid fire, and and put me on the hot seat because you've been asked a lot of questions, Coach. So you're gonna get to ask me some questions. But
I'm always terrible at that.
you do well with it. You're good with it. But I want to get into you on the sideline. I made mention of it a little while ago, but when you're walking up and down there, you have no idea what the commentators are saying. You have no idea, what the stories they're telling, or I just talked to Coach at halftime, or whatever that may be. So in crunch time, and you've had crunch time in a lot of these games, you had that 18-15 game against BYU. You had the one possession game at Louisville. You had the overtime game at Duke. So there's been moments this season in that close game against Nevada as well. So what is actually going through the mind of Rhett Lashlee down the stretch, fourth quarter, in overtime, when we're seeing that face? Because you're like expressionless. It's very hard to read if you don't know your personality a little bit. I can make a guess of what I think, and honestly, I feel like I should have put up different faces of you, and I should have been like, this is what I think Rhett Lashlee's thinking, and then you could say right or wrong, and I could hit the buzzer. But what are you thinking in those crunch time moments on the sideline as people are speaking for you going, this is what's on Rhett's mind right now?
Well, I don't know, a variety of things. It depends on the moment. Like if it's the Duke game, from about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I was probably thinking about all the ways that we've just given this game away. And, oh, wow, we turned it over again. Probably what everybody else was thinking, to, just in disbelief of Jafari's great play to block the kick, to then us scoring, to then, the 2-point play. I waited for about 3 to 5 seconds to make sure there's no flags at the end. And then I was just thinking, can't believe we just won that game. And it's really not fair that Manny has to lose that game, And so it's all different. I think for me, I definitely lose it a lot more when maybe the game isn't close. Like I got in trouble with the wife and my daughters at the Stanford game because I got pretty ticked off in the second half and we're up like 30. But I think some of it helps because two things. One, I'm a former quarterback. I played. And so as a quarterback, you get used to, you just got to go to the next play. Something really good happens. Something really bad happens. Like you got to have passion. And so if something really good happens, you get excited for a minute. And then the next play is all that matters. And if something bad happens, you still got to go play the next play. But also as the head coach and the guy calling plays, you got to stay present, because you got to call plays. But then also, like, I've always believed this about leadership. Like your body language is more important than what you're saying.
Yeah.
And, so for example, if I'm going to tell Kevin or our quarterback, man, leadership is like when things are going crazy, good, bad, in between, it doesn't matter. Our guys are going to look at you. What do they see? And that's important. And that they see consistency, they see confidence. That doesn't mean everything's perfect. That doesn't mean you have it all together underneath. And if I'm going to ask the quarterback to do that or our coaches to do that, then I have to do that. And so I don't know. I think just from doing it as a player and a coach over the years, you learn, man, I got to stay present in the moment. But don't worry, inside, we're probably thinking all the things that everyone else is thinking, like this is not good, or anything in between. But you're usually trying to figure out how to solve the problem that's still ongoing.
And you said, Coach, you said not only are you the head coach, but you're calling plays. Do you like that scenario? Do you like being in that type of situation where, you're the head coach, so you're overseeing everything in the world we live in today. You're a general manager. You're a father figure. You're like an uncle to some of these guys. And at the same time, you have to do all the leadership things that a head coach does. Plus, you have to add in that management side to it. And then on the calling plays side, you're asking even more of yourself. How do you navigate through that? And do you like being in that type of situation?
Well, I navigate through it because we got a great staff offensively that I've been with for a long time. Like our run game plan against Pittsburgh, I thought was really good. And Garen Justice and Kyle Cooper and Casey Woods, they deserve all the credit for that. I'm just a guy maybe calling the play, and De'Aaron King getting a guy like Kevin to bounce back from that Duke game, and Rob Likens and what he's done with our guys on the outside in the passing game. Like, we got a good group of guys that I've been with long enough. Like, we know each other. And so you couldn't do it, I don't think, as a head coach without a great support group on that offensive staff. We do it together. There's things I like, there's things I don't. I don't like the prep during the week just because it's so much and it's a grind and you're solving the problem, and then Friday night at the hotel it's like you're cramming for a test because you're getting your mind ready to call the game as a play caller, not just be at the game as the head coach. So that's where you get tired as a head coach when you're doing it all, in terms of being the head coach, worrying about the whole team, but also trying to call the offense and all that. But because we have a great staff, it's doable. But I tell you what you do love is on game day, you feel like you're in it with the guys. Like you're in the fight. And when it's good and when it's bad, you're in it with them and they know you're in it with them. And you feel connected to the guys during the game instead of walking around and just saying punt, go for it. Like, no, you're in it. And I think it helps. I think that helps probably more than anything, stay calm. Because if things are going really bad, you have to be thinking, okay, well, how are we going to dig out of this? You can't be losing your mind and throwing a fit and all that. You have to go try to solve the problem, and that's all you're constantly doing. But I just love the connection with the guys because I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't involved in that, because that's why you coach. And so, look, I've said it every year, as long as I think that me calling plays is what gives us the best chance to win, I'm going to do it. In the moment I don't think that, I'll let someone else do it. But I just like that. I like being in it with the guys, and I like the guys knowing that I'm in it with them.
Do you think that Kevin Jennings likes the fact that you're in his head and in his ear all the time?
You need to ask him that question. I think I'm doing a good job, but I also think I'm doing a good job with my wife at home, and she could probably tell you the 30 things I need to get better at. So I'm sure there's some times he'd be like, man, if I had a mute button, this would be good. But I've done my best, and that was my goal from the beginning, is to not talk too much. Like, for the most part, give them the play, maybe give them one thought, and let them play. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to get in their head and overcoach and overcommunicate, and now they're bogged down and they can't play. And so for the most part, I just give them the play. Every now and then I might be, hey, second and short. Yeah. And I don't tell him what to do because it's second and short. I'm just reminding him it's second and short, or hey, we got 2 downs here. Or, hey, be smart with the football. That's it. You know what I mean? And let him play. At least I think I'm doing okay, but we'd have to ask him.
No, you're definitely doing a good job. And right before we get into rapid fire, Rhett Lashlee, SMU Mustangs head football coach, following the 8-1 start, 5-0 in the first year in the ACC. The Pitt game, when we look at Pittsburgh and what Pitt's been doing here this season, a week before they played you, they blew out Syracuse at home. And then you go into a game against them, and this game was 48-11, I believe, before it ended 48-25. Just what you could say. I mean, Pittsburgh came in undefeated. They came in having a really great season, a really strong season, and they found out at the beginning of the season that they were going to be without a player, and they responded to that in such a tremendous way. I know Pat Narduzzi. I've known him the whole time he's been at Pitt. How do you take a team that Syracuse is now 6-2? Syracuse is no slouch. How do you take a team that blew out Syracuse, and then the next week you take it to an undefeated Pitt and score almost 50 on them after coming off of an overtime victory at Duke? I mean, how did you just kind of turn it around like that, win a close game at Duke, and then do to Pitt what Pitt did to Syracuse?
Yeah, well, you're right about Pat. I mean, Pat and I were talking before the game. He's been there a decade. That's just incredible consistency. And, if you take this year, 3 of the last 4 years, I mean, he's going to win about 30 games in those 4 years. So, I mean, he's done a really good job there. And defensively, everybody knows his reputation. And so, I think I'm kind of in awe of our players, if I'm being honest. We hadn't been home for a game since September 28th. It'd been 6 weeks. And sometimes you worry if they're over amped up for that. Man, they were fired up to be home, and they played that way from start to finish. I think, our staff did a great job of having ready. I think it was big that we went down and scored on the opening drive. It settled everyone down. I think it probably was good for Kevin, coming off the Duke game. We all felt like Kevin was going to play great. We didn't really have any reservations about it, but he still had to go do it. And then, man, our defense was the story of that game. Yeah, we scored 48 points, and we ran the ball really well against a team that usually stops the run well, which allowed us to still throw for 300. But, to your point now, they had scored 3 times on defense the week before, and we had just been a turnover machine the week before. But for our defense it was 31-3 at half. Their offense was scoring 40 points a game. Through 3 quarters, they had 3.5 quarters, they had 11 points. I think our defense was the difference because it allowed us offensively to just play good balanced football, to run the football, to not press, and therefore we didn't turn it over. So it was a big deal, for our guys to play the way they did in a big moment like that against a really good team.
Well, you get to answer the questions all the time. On this show, I put myself on the hot seat. So final couple are going to come from you. What questions you got for me?
All right. Is it okay to start playing Christmas music before Thanksgiving?
No.
We're in agreement there. Will the ACC get multiple teams in the playoff?
Oh, man, I had this conversation. I had a conversation to start this week on Wake Up Call, and I will tell you this, Coach. I take 4 commercial breaks typically. I did not take a commercial break for an hour and 40 minutes because I was arguing with the person that was on my show, Brendan Murphy. Shout out to Brendan. We were having an argument about who I believe should be in and the fact that the Big Ten has not done anything to prove that they get 4 in. And if SMU doesn't get in, I was like, if SMU will win the championship, like if it's them in Miami and talk about that, like wherever they end up, there's no world where I don't see, if you continue to do what you need to do for the next 3 games against BC, at Virginia, and then against Cal, there's no world where I think SMU hasn't earned the right to be in. So I was heavily arguing you yesterday, earlier this week, just so you know.
Appreciate that. Can you think of one good argument why it shouldn't be a 16-team playoff instead of 12?
Talked about that on yesterday's show as well. I think it should be a 16-team playoff. You being inside of the American Athletic fully understand the level of disrespect that's there. And Boise State is having themselves a tremendous season. But at the same time, there are other teams that have earned the right to be in this. I think it should be 16. The only reason why I'm okay with 12 is because it wasn't 4. But in my mind, I argued 16 multiple times, and I argued 16 to start off the week this week. So I do believe there should be 16. And in no way, shape, or form do I think that this should become a 2-conference playoff where they're taking the bulk of the spots. I think the whole point of expanding the playoff is giving all of the conferences representation. And I think that the ACC, it's been shown that there's a disrespect for the ACC, hence why Miami is not even 2 right now, which doesn't make any sense. So in my opinion, the ACC should have more respect, not just because I cover the conference, but because I see the level of play. And I would fully anticipate and hope that the committee makes the right decision and bare minimum puts 2 ACC teams into the college football playoff this year.
I get more questions? Is that it? Or?
No, that's it. You got it. So you got it. But great questions. Rhett Lashlee, as always, SMU Mustangs head football coach. And beyond everything, Coach, it's good to see a good man who's trying to do things the right way succeed. And just so you know what you already do know, watching from afar and having the opportunity to see you do the things that you set forward to do after all the conversations we've had, it really does warm the heart. And, I respect you. And I'm always happy to see this team have success because I know that there's a good heart in this program. And they say if you do it with pure heart and good intentions, you can't fail. So it's been good to see the story so far.
Thanks, Dan, man. I appreciate you and just appreciate what you do for our great game.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where He just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business. I had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there was something about owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York, to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com.
this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And I just want to thank our incredible guests here in the first part of today's broadcast. Our Dolphin Dive inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Moyne College Dolphins. Big time thanks to Jack Gibson as well as Anita Jepchirchir for joining us here on the broadcast in a double dose of the Dolphin Dive. Say that 10 times fast. I'll wait. So thanks to Jack and Anita. They were the top finishers in men's and women's cross country for Moyne in the NEC meet respectively this season, in their second season in transition from Division II to Division I. And of course, you just heard from Rhett Lashlee, the SMU Mustangs head football coach. This guy is someone that a lot of people want to talk to. I'm sure they do. He is having a fantastic season, and they have done an incredible job. I told you that you may have to look for SMU. I don't think they're going to necessarily be a slouch here in the ACC. And look at what they've been doing. So they have overperformed to a lot of people, but to themselves, they got 3 games left. To themselves, they got a shot of being 11-1, and they want to play in the ACC championship game. So the work continues. Rhett's a great guy. Jack and Anita, wonderful to have them on the show. And now it's time for fantasy football. So we're going to end this broadcast, and we're going to start a new one. If you're with us on Facebook, YouTube, Podbean, stay where you are. We will be back momentarily here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with fantasy football and overall NFL